Today, I want to speak to the woman who walks alone, the woman who doesn't have a circle, who moves through life without the constant chatter of friends around her. And to that woman, I say this: there is nothing wrong with you. In fact, there is something profoundly right about you. You see, in life, the first person we must learn to lean on is ourselves. When you don't have a crowd cheering you on, you're forced to dig deeper, to find strength in places others will never know. You learn to trust yourself, to find your courage, and to carry on even when there's no one there to catch you. That strength, the strength that grows in solitude, is not just a skill, it's a lifeline. It's an unbreakable part of who you are. There's a misconception that friends make us whole, that without them, we're incomplete. But here's the truth: not everyone around you has good intentions, and not every friend is worth having. Life is not about how many people you can gather around you, it's about finding the few who see you for who you are, who encourage you to keep going, and who want the best for you. And if you haven't found them yet, it's better to stand alone than to settle for people who aren't truly there for you. Solitude, my friend, is not your enemy. Solitude is a gift, a time for you to meet yourself, to get to know the real you. In the quiet moments when it's just you and your thoughts, that's when you find out who you are and what you're made of. That's where the strength you didn't know you had begins to rise. It's in those silent battles, those lonely nights, that true character is built. And yes, people may look at you and wonder why you're alone. They may even misunderstand your silence, seeing it as weakness or loneliness. But your silence, it's not emptiness, it's focus. It's the kind of focus that says, I'm here for a reason. I have a purpose, a goal, and I will not be swayed. The woman who walks alone is often a woman on a mission. She has no time to entertain distractions. Her energy is reserved for her vision. People will misunderstand you. They'll question why you don't keep friends around. But that's because they don't know what it means to set boundaries, to value peace over popularity. Real strength isn't in gathering crowds, it's in knowing when to stand alone, to protect your peace, and to choose your path carefully. There's nothing wrong with being selective. In fact, it's a sign of wisdom. Remember, strength doesn't always make a lot of noise. It doesn't always demand attention. Sometimes the strongest person in the room is the one who doesn't say a word, but walks their path with quiet resilience. They don't need the world's validation because they know their worth. And that woman, the one without friends, she is a force. She is unshaken, driven by a fire within that needs no applause. So to the woman with no friends, you are not alone. You are powerful beyond measure. In your solitude, you are finding a strength that few will ever understand. Stand tall, walk proud, and know that the path you're on is yours alone. And that, my friend, is a beautiful thing. When a person learns to rely on themselves, they unlock a strength that goes beyond what anyone else can offer. It's about discovering an inner reserve that doesn't depend on someone else's approval, validation, or support. Self-reliance builds resilience because it means you face challenges alone, found solutions, and pushed through without waiting for someone to show you the way. You've learned to trust your own instincts, to navigate setbacks with only your own resolve, and to move forward without needing a crowd to cheer you on. This inner strength isn't just about independence, it's about building a foundation within yourself that cannot be shaken. When you rely on others for emotional stability or security, you're left vulnerable when those relationships change, break, or disappoint. But when you cultivate self-reliance, you establish a core that remains steady, even in turbulent times. It means that no matter what happens around you, you know who you are, and you know you'll be okay. You're grounded in your own capacity to rise up and overcome. This isn't to say that friendships or companionships aren't valuable, they certainly are. But when you've trained yourself to stand on your own 2 feet, you don't need anyone to complete you. Instead, you choose to walk with others, not out of necessity, but out of a desire to share your journey. Self-reliance empowers you to approach relationships from a place of fullness rather than lack. You're not looking for someone to fill a void, you're seeking people who can add value to an already fulfilled life. With self-reliance, every hardship becomes a lesson, and every setback becomes an opportunity to dig deeper into what you're truly capable of. You learn to find resources within that you never knew existed. You realize that your power lies not in someone else's support, but in your own decision to keep going, no matter the obstacles. That's a freedom no one can take away. It's the kind of strength that shapes leaders, innovators, and change makers, the kind of strength that allows you to face the world with courage and conviction. And this journey of self-reliance teaches you the most important lesson of all, that you are enough. You don't need anyone's permission to pursue your dreams, and you don't need anyone's approval to know your worth. Self-reliance is about building a foundation of trust within yourself, one that says, no matter what, I've got this. It's knowing that with or without the support of others, you have everything you need to succeed already within you. It's not an easy path, but it's the most liberating, empowering choice you can make. True friendship is not measured by the number of people around you, but by the depth and quality of those connections. Society often places value on how many people someone knows, how large their social circle is, or how often they're surrounded by others. But genuine friendship doesn't come from numbers, it comes from the richness of a few well-chosen relationships that offer mutual support, understanding, and authenticity. Quality friendships provide a safe space where you can be your true self without fear of judgment or pretense. In these relationships, you feel seen, valued, and understood, even when words are left unspoken. These are the friendships that aren't based on convenience or circumstances. They're rooted in a profound respect for each other's individuality, boundaries, and growth. Such friends don't just accompany you in the easy times, they stand by you through struggles and setbacks, offering strength when you have little left. When you prioritize quality over quantity in friendships, you give yourself permission to let go of relationships that may drain you or hold you back. Not every friendship has the foundation to support you in all stages of your life. Some people are meant to be with you for a season, but the ones who are meant to last are those who are willing to grow with you. They're the ones who lift you up when you're down, and who remind you of who you are when you're feeling lost. These are the friends who celebrate your successes as if they were their own, without jealousy or resentment. In their joy for you, you find a rare and beautiful bond. Choosing quality friendships also means being selective about who you allow into your inner world. It's a commitment to surrounding yourself with people who align with your values, who support your goals, and who encourage you to become the best version of yourself. A friend who challenges you to grow, who holds you accountable, and who genuinely wants the best for you is more valuable than 100 acquaintances who are only there for the good times. These are the friendships that make you feel at peace, not because they're without conflict, but because they're built on a foundation of respect, empathy, and unconditional regard. The beauty of quality friendships is that they don't demand constant attention or presence. You may go days, weeks, or even months without seeing each other, but when you reconnect, it's as if no time has passed. The connection remains strong because it's real, built on an understanding that transcends physical proximity or time spent together. These friendships are the ones that survive life's changes because they aren't dependent on superficial interactions or shared interests alone. They're based on a deep mutual understanding and respect. Ultimately, seeking quality over quantity in friendships reflects an understanding of your own worth. You're not looking to fill a void or prove anything by the number of people in your life. Instead, you're choosing to invest in relationships that add meaning, purpose, and depth to your journey. Quality friendships make life richer and fuller because they're rooted in authenticity and mutual respect, the kind of connections that help you become a better person. It's better to walk with a few true friends than to lose yourself in a crowd. Solitude is often misunderstood. To many, it appears as loneliness or isolation, but in reality, solitude can be one of the most transformative experiences. It's a place where you can retreat from the world and all its noise, a space where you're free to be with your own thoughts, uninterrupted. In solitude, you're given the rare opportunity to explore your inner landscape, to confront the parts of yourself that get overlooked in the busy pace of life, and to come to understand who you really are, independent of anyone else's opinions or expectations. In solitude, you discover clarity. Away from external influences, you can step back from the roles you play for others and listen to what's genuinely important to you. You begin to understand your values, your dreams, and the deeper motivations that drive you. Solitude provides the space to reflect on your life, not just at a surface level, but in a profound way that encourages personal growth and understanding. It is here that you start to see the patterns in your behavior, the things that hold you back, and the habits that empower you. When you can sit with yourself in silence, you start to connect with a wisdom that isn't influenced by the noise of others. Solitude also builds resilience. When you learn to be comfortable alone, you develop an inner strength that is self-sustaining. You no longer need to seek approval or validation from others because you've learned to find it within yourself. This kind of resilience is invaluable. It gives you the power to face challenges independently and to make decisions based on what you know to be right, not on what others might expect of you. In solitude, you come to realize that your worth isn't dependent on anyone else's presence in your life. It's something you carry within you. One of the greatest gifts of solitude is the space it provides for creativity. When you're not influenced by the thoughts and opinions of those around you, your mind is free to wander, to imagine, and to create. Many of the world's most innovative ideas and profound insights have emerged from moments of deep solitude. In this quiet space, you can access parts of your mind that are often hidden in the busyness of daily life. You start to see connections between ideas, to think outside of the box, and to dream without limitations. Solitude allows you to nurture your imagination, to explore ideas that might seem unconventional, and to create without fear of judgment. In solitude, there's also healing. When you're alone with your thoughts, emotions, and memories, you have the chance to confront what may have been buried or ignored. The pain, the hurt, the disappointments, all of these rise to the surface. But in the silence of solitude, there's no need to rush through them or to distract yourself from them. You can allow yourself to process these emotions at your own pace, to understand them, and ultimately to let them go. In this way, solitude becomes a sanctuary for healing, a place where you can shed the burdens you've carried for too long and come out lighter, more at peace. Solitude also strengthens your ability to make independent choices. When you're not constantly surrounded by the opinions and advice of others, you learn to trust your own judgment. Decisions become clearer because they're based on what you truly believe and value rather than what others expect from you. Solitude teaches you to stand firm in your choices, knowing that they come from a place of inner conviction. This self-assurance is powerful. It allows you to live life on your terms, not swayed by the crowd, but guided by your own understanding of what's right for you. Far from being a place of emptiness, solitude is a space of fullness, where you can reconnect with yourself, rejuvenate your spirit, and realign with your purpose. It's an environment that fosters growth because it allows you to strip away the unnecessary, to see yourself as you truly are, and to move forward with a renewed sense of direction. Embracing solitude isn't about rejecting the world, it's about becoming whole within yourself so that when you step back into the world, you do so with clarity, purpose, and confidence. Silence, when chosen consciously, becomes a powerful expression. For some, silence is misunderstood as mere shyness or passivity, but for a woman of depth, silence can speak volumes. Her silence is not empty, it is full of purpose and focus. It reflects a mind that is clear, centered, and undistracted by the noise around her. In a world that often equates loudness with strength, her silence is a declaration of her inner resolve and understanding that true power doesn't always need to announce itself. When she chooses silence, it's often because she is focused on something greater than the immediate. Her attention is not scattered across every fleeting trend or passing conversation. Instead, she is grounded, intentionally channeling her energy into goals, dreams, and ambitions that resonate with her purpose. Her silence is a shield, protecting her from unnecessary distractions and the voices that might sway her from her path. In staying silent, she cultivates a discipline that keeps her aligned with what truly matters to her. She doesn't need to explain herself or justify her choices to everyone. Her actions will speak louder than words ever could, and she knows that her results will ultimately tell her story. Her silence is also a mark of self-confidence. She is aware of her worth and is not seeking validation from those around her. When someone is deeply rooted in self-belief, they don't need to broadcast every thought or defend every action. She knows that her journey is her own, and she's comfortable with it, even if it isn't fully understood by others. Her silence is a reminder that her focus is internal rather than external. She is not swayed by superficial opinions or idle chatter. Instead, she is listening to her own inner voice, nurturing her own vision and honoring her path. Silence, for her, becomes a tool for growth. It's in the quiet moments that she can truly reflect, evaluate, and recalibrate. Rather than filling the air with endless words, she allows herself the space to think, to analyze, and to strategize. In silence, she finds clarity and direction. This internal focus sharpens her understanding and keeps her grounded. She has learned that by being still, she can connect with her intuition, discovering insights and solutions that are often missed in the constant buzz of conversation. Her silence is a process of refining her mind, allowing her to emerge stronger, clearer, and more resolute. In her silence, she becomes an observer, taking in details others might overlook. She watches, she listens, and she learns. She knows that wisdom often comes not from speaking, but from understanding. By choosing to remain quiet, she gathers knowledge, insight, and perspective. This approach allows her to see beyond the surface, to perceive the nuances of people and situations, and to make informed choices. Her silence equips her with a depth of understanding that can only come from truly paying attention to the world around her, observing it with a discerning eye. Moreover, her silence creates a boundary that others recognize and respect. By not engaging in every conversation or revealing her thoughts to everyone, she maintains a certain mystique. People come to realize that she speaks only when there's something meaningful to say. Her words carry weight because they aren't thrown around carelessly. She's aware of the value of her voice and chooses to use it purposefully. So when she does speak, people listen. Her silence demands respect, and it's a signal that her mind is occupied with things beyond the ordinary. She has chosen to devote herself to her own growth, her own calling, and her own truth. Ultimately, her silence is a testament to her independence. She doesn't need others to validate her worth or to acknowledge her purpose. She's self-sufficient in her determination, confident in her abilities, and unwavering in her convictions. Her silence is her strength, a sign that she's fully engaged in the pursuit of her goals, undistracted by the opinions or expectations of others. It's a powerful reminder that sometimes the loudest statements are made in silence, and the most profound impact is created not by noise, but by quiet, focused purpose. Setting boundaries is an act of self-respect and self-care, a way of honoring one's own needs, values, and worth. Boundaries aren't walls intended to shut people out, but rather guidelines that help others understand how to interact with us in a way that respects our personal limits. When someone sets boundaries, they're sending a powerful message. They understand their own worth and are committed to protecting their mental, emotional, and even physical well-being. It's an act of self-respect that says, I know what I need to thrive, and I am not afraid to honor that, even if it means having to say no or make difficult choices. Setting boundaries is an acknowledgement that not every request or demand deserves a yes. People who value themselves understand that they cannot pour from an empty cup, that their time, energy, and attention are precious resources that must be managed wisely. By establishing boundaries, they choose to prioritize what matters most to them, whether it's their goals, health, family, or personal peace. They realize that constantly catering to others' needs or wants, without regard for their own, will only lead to burnout, resentment, or even a loss of identity. Boundaries are a way of ensuring that they remain balanced and centered, giving their best self to what genuinely deserves it. Creating boundaries is also a way to safeguard emotional health. By setting limits, individuals can protect themselves from toxic influences, unnecessary stress, and draining interactions. When someone chooses to limit their exposure to negative or manipulative behaviors, they're making a conscious decision to maintain a positive and supportive environment. They know that they cannot control others' actions, but they can control their responses. Boundaries become a shield that prevents external negativity from overwhelming their inner peace. By respecting their own emotional needs, they cultivate a sense of security and peace that cannot easily be disturbed. When people set boundaries, they also encourage others to respect and value them. Boundaries teach others how to treat us. They establish clear expectations for what is and isn't acceptable. For example, setting a boundary about personal space, time, or communication style lets others know that there are limits to what can be expected or asked. This fosters healthier, more respectful relationships because both parties understand and honor each other's limits. Boundaries are, in many ways, a way of asking others to take responsibility for their actions and to approach relationships with mutual respect and understanding. Moreover, boundaries reinforce self-trust. When someone sets and maintains boundaries, they learn to rely on their own judgment and instincts. They become more in tune with their feelings and can discern what's truly good for them versus what may not serve their growth or well-being. This self-trust strengthens over time, creating a sense of empowerment that allows them to stand firm in their decisions, even when faced with pressure or opposition. By respecting their own boundaries, they demonstrate to themselves that they are capable of making choices that support their happiness and integrity. This internal consistency builds confidence and a strong sense of self. Boundaries also contribute to a person's overall well-being by allowing them to protect their energy. In a world that often demands more than anyone can give, boundaries provide a way to recharge and renew. They prevent individuals from spreading themselves too thin or taking on responsibilities that don't align with their values or priorities. When people respect their own boundaries, they create the space they need to rest, to reflect, and to refocus. This ensures that when they do engage with others, they are fully present, capable, and genuinely invested. Boundaries, in this way, don't isolate, they allow a person to show up as their best self. Finally, setting boundaries is an act of courage. It requires a willingness to say no, to assert one's needs, and to endure the discomfort that sometimes comes with standing up for oneself. There may be times when others push back or misunderstand, but by remaining firm, a person demonstrates an unwavering commitment to their own well-being. This courage is a testament to the strength it takes to protect oneself, even when it might not be easy or popular. Setting boundaries is not selfish, it is a necessary act of self-respect, a way to honor oneself in a world that often asks for more than one can give. It's a reminder that self-worth is non-negotiable, and that a life lived with integrity begins with knowing, respecting, and honoring one's own limits. Strength is often mistaken for loudness, for bold declarations and outward displays of power, but true strength is far more profound. Real strength doesn't always need to announce itself. It doesn't rely on volume to validate its presence. Instead, it is the quiet resilience, the unspoken conviction, and the steady resolve that keeps a person grounded, even when the world around them is turbulent. Strength is often the silent force that holds a person steady in the face of life's greatest challenges, allowing them to weather storms with a calm determination that others may never see or understand. Quiet strength is the ability to stand firm without drawing attention. It doesn't seek validation from others, nor does it need to be affirmed by recognition. There's a calm, unwavering confidence in those who possess this kind of strength because they know that their value isn't tied to external praise or acknowledgement. They're secure in their own identity, and they draw power from within. This kind of strength enables them to be patient, to wait without restlessness, and to move forward without needing approval. It's a strength that is comfortable in silence and confident without applause. In many ways, quiet strength is rooted in self-control. It's the discipline to hold back, to refrain from reacting impulsively, and to choose one's words and actions carefully. This kind of strength doesn't retaliate at every provocation or feel the need to prove itself in every conflict. Instead, it practices restraint, recognizing that true power doesn't lie in domination, but in the ability to rise above the noise and respond with integrity. This silent strength is guided by wisdom, knowing that some battles are best won by choosing not to engage, and that sometimes the greatest power is in the peace that comes with letting go. Quiet strength is also the courage to carry burdens silently. It's the resilience to face difficulties without needing to broadcast one's struggles to the world. Those who possess this strength endure pain, setbacks, and disappointment with grace, not because they lack feeling, but because they understand that strength doesn't require an audience. They bear their challenges privately, allowing their experiences to shape them, to deepen their empathy, and to strengthen their character. This strength, though unseen, is profoundly powerful, as it reflects a capacity to handle life's weight without allowing it to break one's spirit. People with quiet strength have an inner stability that is unshaken by the changing tides of circumstances. They don't crumble under pressure or falter in the face of uncertainty. This strength is not flashy or dramatic, but it is reliable and enduring. It's the ability to hold on when times are tough, to keep going when others might give up, and to believe in oneself even when others doubt. Quiet strength is what allows a person to rise each day with purpose, regardless of the struggles they face. It's a strength that can adapt, that finds ways to grow in adversity, and that emerges even stronger in the aftermath. This silent strength also radiates a quiet confidence that inspires others without needing to speak. It is the strength that leads by example, showing others that one can face hardships with dignity and move through life with grace. This confidence doesn't seek to overpower or outshine. Rather, it invites others to feel safe, to be themselves, and to find their own quiet strength. People who embody this strength often become pillars for those around them, simply by being present and steady, demonstrating that real power doesn't have to be loud to be felt. Quiet strength is humble. It doesn't boast, and it doesn't demand recognition. Those with quiet strength are often the last to talk about their own accomplishments or struggles, preferring instead to let their actions speak for themselves. They understand that true strength is self-sufficient. It doesn't rely on external validation to feel complete. This humility is a source of their power, for they are not driven by ego or by the need to be seen as strong. Their strength is a natural expression of who they are, grounded in self-awareness and a deep understanding of their own resilience. Finally, quiet strength is enduring. It's not a fleeting moment of bravery, but a sustained force that carries someone through life's ups and downs. It's a strength that grows over time, building layer upon layer through every challenge and triumph. This endurance allows a person to keep moving forward, to adapt to changing circumstances, and to face each new day with a sense of hope and possibility. Quiet strength isn't always easy to see, but it's always there, steady, constant, and true. It's the kind of strength that may not draw attention, but it leaves an indelible mark, proving that sometimes the most powerful strength is the one that remains silent, steadfast, and unwavering. In the end, strength and resilience don't always show up in ways the world expects. They're not always loud, nor are they always visible. True strength is often found in quiet moments, in a person's ability to rely on themselves, to set boundaries that protect their peace, and to endure without the need for recognition. It's the strength of focus, purpose, and knowing one's own worth without needing validation. This kind of strength allows one to grow in solitude, to find purpose in silence, and to respect oneself enough to stand firm when it matters most. Each of these qualities speaks to a quiet resilience that doesn't demand to be seen or acknowledged. It simply exists, providing an unshakable foundation through life's challenges and triumphs alike. This quiet strength is a mark of someone who has learned the value of self-respect, who is unafraid to walk alone, and who draws power not from outward recognition, but from an unwavering sense of inner purpose. It is this kind of strength that can carry a person through anything, showing us that sometimes the most powerful force is the strength that speaks not in words, but in action, discipline, and unwavering self-belief. In the end, the story of a woman who walks her path alone, without the noise of many friendships, is a story of profound strength, focus, and self-respect. She isn't defined by the number of people around her, but by her resilience, by the boundaries she sets, and by the quiet confidence with which she carries herself. Our journey shows us that sometimes solitude is not a sign of weakness, but of deep inner resolve. She teaches us that strength doesn't always need to be loud, that purpose doesn't always need an audience, and that true self-worth comes from within. In a world that often equates success with visibility and strength with volume, our life is a reminder that some of the most powerful qualities, self-reliance, silent growth, and unshakable focus, are often unseen. Her strength radiates not from the approval of others, but from a place of knowing her own value, regardless of who is watching. She stands as a testament to the quiet power that lives within us all, urging us to honor our path, to respect our boundaries, and to trust in our own strength, even if we walk it alone.